Okay, welcome back, everybody. Now we're going to talk about the Affordable Care Act. Usually you have to know some general information about the Affordable Care Act if you're getting your health insurance license. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to share my screen, and then we will talk about the Affordable Care Act. So I did these slides to kind of go through the Affordable Care Act to make it a little bit more simplified. So we're going to talk about the purposes of the Affordable Care Act. It is a government oversight program. It does have some individual and group plans, the key provisions of the Affordable Care Act, and some health benefits of the Affordable Care Act as well. Now, the aims of the Affordable Care Act, to name a few of those: to provide easy and universal access to healthcare, to encourage employers to offer healthcare insurance. We're going to see that there's a penalty if employers that have 50 or more employees do not have health insurance, to expand Medicaid, to also establish regulations for private insurance companies by doing those state-based private exchanges to help control healthcare costs. A lot of times people can't qualify for Medicare, but yet health insurance is too expensive, so it can provide credits to that moderate and low income individual, and to educate consumers and to help them make their choices. So that is basically the aims. Now, as far as government oversight, you have the Department of Labor, which is responsible for the Affordable Care Act compliance. You have the Department of Health and Human Services. And so this is where you have the marketplace, where you have your cost sharing mandates. And then you have your Internal Revenue Services, which addresses subsidies and penalties. Now, keep in mind, the individual penalty went away in 2019, but we still have that applicable large employer, which we'll talk about. We still have that penalty. Now, what the Affordable Care Act does is it prohibits from imposing any pre-existing conditions. It also says that you can't base the health insurance rate on that particular person's medical history in the rate calculation. Also, gender cannot be used. You also don't have any annual or lifetime limits, okay? And it's also a guaranteed issue basis. The company cannot come in and cancel the insurance because you have diabetes or something like that. Now, they can raise the premium, but they cannot cancel it if you continue to pay your premiums. So the only rating criteria that you have with these group medical plans is you have age, because of course, the older you get, the more expensive it's going to be. Family composition. Are we just insuring Tom? Are we insuring the spouse as well? Are we insuring his children? So that will depend on, what your health insurance is there as well. Also, tobacco usage. Do they smoke? Smoking is like a big factor in the price of health insurance and where you are located. California could be a lot higher than North Carolina. So these are the 4 rating criteria that you see with the Affordable Care Act. Now, you also have some key provisions as far as minimum essential coverage, minimum value requirement, and essential health benefits. So when we're talking about minimum essential coverage, this applies to the applicable large employer, which is called the ALE. So they have to provide health insurance to their employees if they have a minimum or a full-time people or an equivalent. Maybe they have, 25, maybe they have a lot of part-time people, so it's 50, a minimum of 50 or more full-time or full-time equivalent employees. Also, they have to make the coverage accessible to these full-time employees and any of their spouses and their dependents under age 26. And if they do not do that, they're subject to financial penalties. Now, not only does the applicable large employer have to offer health insurance, they usually have to pay at least 50% of the premium. Now, the plan itself, at least 60% of the total cost has to be paid. Okay, so usually they have to pay 50% of the premium, but the health insurance plan should pay for at least 60% of that cost. Also, it has to be affordable. This is why sometimes employers will pay more for the health insurance for some employees to make it more affordable and to meet this guideline. Now, there are 10 essential health benefits in the Affordable Care Act. You have ambulance, you have hospitalization, you have mental health. You didn't always have that. back in your basic and your major comprehensive policies in the 90s. You have rehab, you have emergency services, you have pregnancy. Before, this may be something that you had to add on, and there could be a 10-month waiting period. Again, no pre-existing. You have prescription drugs, labs, pediatric services, and if you have a child under age 19, they can even have oral and vision, because usually oral and vision is separate from your essential health benefits. You do not have to have that as far as being an essential benefit. Birth control is also considered 10 essential benefits, as well as preventive and wellness type services. So the main thing that the Affordable Care Act did, just to summarize this, it eliminated pre-existing conditions, dependent coverage for children to age 26, guaranteed issue. Now, the premium could go up, but there's guaranteed issue, and it's only based on age, where you live, your family composition, and tobacco use. There can be a 90-day waiting period for new employees. You have to report the cost of the health care coverage. You have unlimited limits on your annual and lifetime maximum benefits. They have to be given a summary of benefits coverage so they can eyeball exactly what they have. Also, group health plans could get a rebate back if their loss ratios are intact. And of course, you have the health insurance marketplaces. Okay, so this is a summary of the Affordable Care Act. Now, if you need more help passing your health insurance or your disability or any of your life or property and casualty, I can supplement that material for you, your state laws. For $97, you get a lot of information, the most tested topics for your state exam. So for $97, you have 110 days access, to PDF worksheets, videos, and cheat sheets and that type of thing. All right. And again, this will supplement and help you pass that state exam. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video.